The implications of this are frankly nothing short of historic. Over 100 documents that we released on Friday really detail and provide evidence of how this treasonous conspiracy was directed by President Obama just weeks before he was due to leave office.
The number one loser, you know who it is? Barack Obama. Do you know why? Because his voice doesn't carry weight anymore. He was out there begging, screaming, scolding, everything he did. He no longer carries that weight. Imagine Barack Obama, every day he goes to sleep, he remembers that one dinner that he's talking to Trump, saying you'll never be president, when he did the angry tweets and all this stuff on Jimmy Kimmel or Jimmy Fallon, and he reads the Trump tweet at him, talking about him, he says, at least you'll never be a president, drops the mic.
Oh, darlings, buckle up because the tea is scorching hot today, and it's spilling all over the pristine legacy of none other than Barack Obama himself. You know, the guy who sauntered into the White House like he owned the place, all smooth operator vibes, and that killer smile that could charm the socks off a statue. But hold on to your pearls, because Patrick Bet-David and Tulsi Gabbard just crashed the party on live TV, and they're not here to play nice. They're dishing out the kind of dirt that makes you wonder if Obama's halo was just a fancy light filter all along. We're talking historic bombshells, folks, over 100 juicy documents dropped like confetti at a scandal parade, pointing fingers straight at the former prez for orchestrating what sounds like the plot of a spy thriller right before he handed over the keys to the Oval Office. Picture this. Obama's chilling in his post-presidency paradise, probably sipping some artisanal whatever while reminiscing about those glory days when crowds chanted his name like he was the second coming of cool. But nope, not anymore. Patrick Bet-David's out here labeling him the ultimate has-been, the voice that once echoed like thunder now barely registering as a whisper. Remember that infamous dinner where Obama straight up mocked Trump, dropping the mic like he was sealing the deal on history? You'll never be president, he quipped, all smug and superior. Fast forward, and Trump's got the keys while Obama's left stewing in his regrets every night. Ouch, right? It's like watching a blockbuster villain get his comeuppance in slow motion, and Bet-David's narrating it with the glee of someone who's waited years for this moment. And Tulsi Gabbard? She's not mincing words either, honey. She's calling out the deflection game like a pro wrestler spotting a fake fall. Obama's out there dismissing everything as nonsense, a mere distraction, but Gabbard's like, nice try, but those documents we unleashed? They're singing a different tune. It's all about this alleged conspiracy cooked up in the final weeks of his term, treasonous whispers, shadowy directives, the works. The kind of stuff that would make Watergate look like a kiddie pool party. Gabbard ties it back to Obama's inner circle, those congressional buddies still parroting his lines like loyal parrots. Deflect, deny, distract, that's the playbook, apparently, and she's ripping the pages out one by one. Now, let's zoom out a bit because this isn't just about one. Scandalous reveal. It's the whole Obama myth unraveling like a cheap sweater. He burst onto the scene as the hope and change heartthrob, crowds fainting at his rallies, media fawning like he'd invented charisma. But Bet-David and Gabbard are here to pop that bubble with a pin the size of Texas. Foreign policy? Chaos on steroids. Wall Street? His besties got the bailouts while Main Street got the bills. Legacy? More like a glossy brochure hiding a bunch of fine print nobody read. They paint him as the ultimate brand ambassador, slick packaging, zero substance. Like, imagine hyping up a revolutionary gadget only to find out it's just a fancy toaster that burns your bread every time. From Obama's perspective, though, Bet-David imagines him seething internally, especially when folks start comparing Kamala Harris to him. Shut it down, he's probably muttering under his breath, ego bruised like an overripe banana.
But think you're Obama, okay? First go from the Obama's lens.
Okay.
Obamas are sitting there having to hear people compare Kamala to Obama.
Crazy.
Do you know what that does to Obama? Do you know Obama is sitting there saying, shut the that's what Obama's saying internally, right?
It's hilarious, really, the man who once owned the room now watching his spotlight get shared. And Gabbard jumps in, dissecting his responses like a forensic expert on a crime show. Those statements from him and his pals? Pure smokescreens, she says, dodging the real meat in those documents. If you're loving this drama, by the way, Don't forget to smash that subscribe button because the revelations keep coming and you won't want to miss a single drop.
Director Gabbard, give me your response to what we heard from former President Obama there. He's saying that none of this makes any sense, that this is a distraction. What do you say to that?
It's the art of deflection coming from former President Obama, as well as his friends who are still in Congress today, and Senator Warner and Congressman Jim Himes, really all basically saying that exact same statement, which doesn't actually address the issue that was revealed in great detail in the over 100 documents that we released last week.
Obama always carried himself like politics' golden boy, pausing dramatically in speeches as if each word was carved from marble. Philosopher king? More like the emperor with no clothes, once Bet David and Gabbard start stripping away the layers. His cool factor? Overrated. Those bracket picks? Legendary fails. But seriously, Bet David dives into the economic wizardry, or lack thereof. Obama gets elected, and bam, quantitative easing kicks in like a magic money faucet, keeping interest rates at rock bottom for his entire run. Economy looks peachy on paper, right? Then Trump steps in, rates climb like they're training for Everest, and suddenly everyone's blaming the new guy.
The one thing I wanted to show is the following. So you know how you talked about Jerome Powell, what an easy job. You come once a month and he said we're going to increase the rates.
Greatest job there is.
I think this is the one thing they don't talk about. So Barack Obama got elected November 4th. Okay, quantitative easing started November 26th.
Right.
And it stayed for 8 years until you got elected.
Right.
So if you look at that low, pretty much 0% interest rate.
Right.
And then you get elected, right? If you go to January 2016, Rob, for the audience to see that. And then from there, one by one, rates are going up. And then Biden comes in, goes back down to zero to try to save the economy. And then, the rest is obviously history.
Right.
But do you think the average person knows, like, the impact of going to 0%?
Obama sails through unscathed, legacy intact, while the rest of us deal with the hangover. Gabbard piles on, reminding us. That behind the Messiah vibes was a guy peddling used car promises. Revolutionary? Hardly. More like a corporate keynote speaker in presidential drag, all hype, no horsepower. Bet David calls him a walking ad campaign, the political equivalent of an iPhone launch. Queues around the block for hope, only to unbox the same old bugs and crashes. Then there's the Nobel Peace Prize fiasco. Bet David and his guest Tom are cackling over it. Nominations in smoky backrooms, handed out like political candy.
By the way, Tom, what is the process of Nobel Prize? If he's able to do that, who nominates? Because most of the Nobel winners are on the left.
Nobel Prizes, you can go look this up, are given through an arcane nomination process, and they go into a back room and they decide who they're going to give it to. And the Nobel Peace Prize is basically a political football. You look around the world at people that have really caused peace, and you have Obama made a couple speeches as soon as he was inaugurated in 2009. Oh my goodness, we give it to for fostering an environment of peace.
Obama snags one fresh out of the gate for speeches? Fostering peace vibes? Meanwhile, real peacemakers are sidelined. Gabbard takes the baton, slamming how he campaigned on ending wars, but ramped up drone strikes like they were going out of style. Transparency? Please, he went after whistleblowers harder than a kid chasing ice cream trucks.
Ability to try to impact the outcome of the U.S. election leading up to Election Day. The same assessment was made after Donald Trump was elected by the American people as president in 2016, defeating Hillary Clinton. And it wasn't until after that pulled President's Daily Brief document that the Principals Committee was called in the National Security Council, and President Obama then directed Obama's DNI James Clapper to lead the effort to create this new intelligence community assessment that detailed not if, but how Moscow attempted to influence the outcome of the U.S. election.
The military-industrial complex didn't get dismantled. It got a fresh coat of progressive paint and a thumbs up from the Oval. The irony drips like honey, sainted by the masses, but his policies were pure establishment fluff. Bet David spotlights the Wall Street love affair, bailouts galore while folks lost homes left and right. Yes, we can turn into, yes, banks can, with bonuses raining down like confetti.
Michelle and I couldn't be prouder to endorse you and to do everything we can to get you through this election and into the Oval Office.
Oh my goodness. The words you have spoken and the friendship that you have given over all these years,
mean more than I can express.
And we're going to have
So
some
thank
fun.
you both.
Say it.
It means so much. And we're going to have some fun with this,
That's
too.
right. So obviously, she's not a professional actress.
Hope didn't trickle, it evaporated. And Gabbard? She's eviscerating the anti-war facade. That Nobel was a joke trophy, and what followed? Escalated messes, drones turning warfare into a video game where civilians were just pixels. Middle East? More unstable than a Jenga tower in an earthquake. But wait, there's more. The endorsement circus with Michelle, all lovey-dovey for Kamala. That David's side-eyeing it like professional actress? Not even close. It's all performative, scripted warmth masking the machinations. Gabbard dives deeper into the post-election drama, assessments flipped on a dime after Trump won, Obama allegedly directing the intel shuffle to paint Russia as the big bad wolf.
After President Trump had already gotten elected. This is not a Democrat or Republican issue. This is an issue that is so serious it should concern every single American because it has to do with the integrity of our democratic republic. What we saw occur here, as the documents we released detailed, was that we had a sitting president of the United States and his cabinet and leadership team, quite frankly, who were not happy with the fact that President Trump had won the election, that the American people had chosen Donald J. Trump to be the next president commander-in-chief of the United States.
Not about truth, she says, about undermining the vote, launching a slow burn coup. Serious stuff. Shaking the Republic's foundations, and they're laying it out like prosecutors in a courtroom thriller. Obama's influence? Gabbard says it's the root of today's divide-and-conquer politics. He preached unity, but mastered subtle splits, turning identities into weapons.
Evidence that we have found and that we have released directly point to President Obama leading the manufacturing of this intelligence assessment. There are multiple pieces of evidence and intelligence that confirm that fact. The implications of this are far-reaching and have to do with the integrity of our democratic republic. It has to do with an outgoing president taking action to manufacture intelligence to undermine and usurp the will of the American people in that election and launch what would be a years-long coup against the incoming President of the United States, Donald Trump.
Americans as checkboxes, not citizens. That moral high ground? It birthed the Trump backlash, inevitable as a sequel to a bad movie. Bet David nails the image obsession. Hoops, soulful singing, viral moments. Governance? Secondary to the gram. Influencer-in-chief, curating feeds while the country frayed. The evidence, per Gabbard, points straight to Obama manufacturing intel post-Trump win, usurping the people's will, coup vibes for years.
That was an inconvenient truth. The president's daily brief article was pulled. It has never been published until we released it about a week and a half ago. Instead, this new intelligence assessment was ordered by President Obama that contradicted directly every other intelligence assessment that had been published prior to the election, as well as assessments that had been pushed forward after the election.
Foreign policy? Theater of the absurd. Libya. Humanitarian win turned slave market nightmare. World less safe, but speeches? Chef's kiss.
Foreign policy related, and it was related to the fact that I had the audacity to go against them, to challenge the elite of the Democratic Party, which is Hillary Clinton, it's Barack Obama, and it's the people who surround them in the military-industrial complex, in the media-industrial complex, those who are pushing, and it's not limited to the Democratic Party.
Bet David shreds the econ myth. Gigs booming, wages flat, core feasting. Trickle-up economics, baby. Taxes up, crumbs down. Gabbard calls out the green hypocrisy, climate champ, yet fracking king. Transparency? Spied on journos like big brothers in turn. Empowered people? Nah, entrenched elites. Post-presidency? Wine with tech titans, deals galore. Bet David laughs at the grassroots poser now hobnobbing with oligarchs. Obama's remembered for feels, not feats, politics as showbiz, speeches over substance.
President Obama will go down as perhaps the worst president in the history of the United States! Exclamation point at real Donald Trump. Well, at real Donald Trump, at least I will go down as a president.
Obama has to eat his words for the rest of his life. It's gotta suck. The number one loser of 2024 election.
Tulsi ties it to her own beef, challenging the elites, Hillary, Obama, the complex's pulling strings. Not partisan, power play. Bet David dismantles the brand, divided nation, wobbly world, brand-obsessed culture. Myth shredded, truth liberating. Obama taught politics as theater, appearances trump accountability. Legacy in tatters. Shifting gears, Bet David hits Obama's podcast chit-chat, divorce rumors, gay friends quip. Light, but undercurrents of deflection. Then ACA, Bet David and Gabbard torch it as bureaucratic beast, premium soaring, businesses choked. Reform? Insurance ad in disguise. Trump's tweet burn, Obama as worst prez, mic drop retort. Eats words forever. Iran deal, Bet David calls theater, fragile facade empowering foes. Bet David and Gabbard? Heroes dismantling the emperor's wardrobe, one thread at a time. The gossip mill's churning, and it's deliciously over the top. Stay tuned, the drama never sleeps.